Joining us right now is one of the best in the National Football League doing what he does. It is Mental Health Awareness Month that we are currently in. And joining us, courtesy of Kooth, a leading digital mental health platform, I would say the mastermind of the Offensive Line Mastermind Summit that's coming in July, is none other than Philadelphia Eagle Lane Johnson. How you been, Lane?
Man, doing good. OTAs are ongoing, and won't be too long. We'll be back in training camp. So
okay.
About all that.
So the team activities for you are currently organized, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Right
yes,
now.
Sir.
What in the world does an organized team activity for the Philadelphia Eagles in late May look like, Lane?
Getting a little bit back on the field, obviously hitting the weight room, but a lot of it is getting back in there and learning the offense over again. And, new guys coming in, rookies get a chance to really learn the offense or defense and get ready for training camp. That's kind of what the premise of it all is.
You don't have to call them rookies. Just call them Georgia Bulldogs, Lane.
Hey, just call them, yeah, you're right. Georgia Bulldogs.
Yeah, the Georgia kids are coming in, because that right? You didn't draft anybody except Georgia Bulldogs, last I checked. Right, Lane?
Yeah, and Alabama, about it.
Oh, that's right too. I forgot about that. That's right. I don't want to disrespect your new offensive line mate, Tyler Steen. So, what when you're sitting there at home and you're watching the draft and you see Georgia kids go left and right, up and down, what are you thinking, Lane?
The best players from the best team in college football. I mean, it kind of makes sense a little bit.
Okay, so you're sitting there thinking, okay, these kids, do they come in, Georgia kids or kids at that level come in with a little bit better knowledge of how this works in the NFL, or they're just like any other rookie from your perspective?
I just think talent level and maybe the level of exposure that they had is pretty similar to an NFL market or some NFL markets. So I feel like adapting to that, and then obviously being talented and I just think the physicality of the SEC always matches up pretty well in the NFL.
Lane Johnson, 3-time All-Pro, 4-time Pro Bowler, and Super Bowl 52 champion from the Philadelphia Eagles here on the Rich Eisen Show. What is it like being in a huddle with Jalen Hurts?
It's fun. The thing about Jalen, and I discussed this earlier, I just think his presence, how he approaches everything, I feel like emotionally he doesn't get too high or too low, and so I feel like that calm demeanor kind of sets the tone for the football team. And then, just having him out there, he can obviously do things in the passing game and do things with his legs. I just think having a diverse guy like that and how he leads really is kind of the foundation of our football team.
How does he lead?
With work. How he approaches the weight room, how he goes in meetings. I just think everybody respects his work ethic and just his relationships with his teammates. Most of all.
And you also had a front row seat to him gaining his opportunity, being removed from a game, which I can't wait to find out the real story behind that game 256 a couple years ago, Lane, and then getting the opportunity to be a full-time starter and then making the most of it. I'm wondering what you've seen from him from that perspective, having a front row seat for the way he's handled his business on that. Did you ever see him get down in any way, shape, or form, Lane?
No, I just think from what he experienced in college, obviously that was a weird situation, but I feel like he handled it, with a lot of grace. And then just, coming to the league, I think knowing his role, I feel like he understood his role. And then obviously, like we said, when the opportunity rose, he really doubled down on it. But, as far as his demeanor, his work ethic, that was always the day one thing. And then, obviously as he got the starting position, things just kind of unfolded. But I just think progression is really the term to use with him. Is just, every year he seemed to up his game and, become even more of what he is.
Lane Johnson here on the Rich Eisen Show. You, sir, you've been in the league since 2013, so this is year 11 coming up for you. You're 33 years old. How are you different now than when you first came in the league, Lane?
I just think knowledge of the game. I feel like, obviously, physically, I think I may be stronger in whatever I may have lost in speed, overall speed or quickness you can make up with with timing and strength. So it's just kind of an evolution of a player. But, yeah, I mean, a lot of things goes down to mentally, knowing your assignment and know how to execute it better. I feel like I've had, obviously, 10 years of reps, live reps, and it's hard to replace that. And so I think just with the culmination of that, it's made me a smarter player.
Well, how are you physically? There's a lot of conversation about how, and again, I know athletes certainly of your stature don't like talking about injuries because they sound like excuses potentially. But how are you phically coming off the last year?
I feel great. Besides the one playoff game, I really didn't feel too terrible, with our run. And so, physically, I feel loose and I feel strong. And so, whatever setback I might have had, the recovery from this injury is pretty quick, and the chance of re-injuring this is, I think, almost down to 1% from what the stats say. So, feeling good, and man, just blessed, to be with one team for all these years and being fortunate to be a part of a good organization. Winning football games and it's hard to replicate.
Okay. And that one playoff game you're referring to, is that the one that San Francisco had only 10 guys on the field? Lane?
Yeah, that was one of them. And the Giants game, I feel like I probably hurt the most. It's really my first return to action.
What'd you make of Debo's comments about the NFC Championship game? How has that rested within your locker room, Lane?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, players can get motivated from that, but I mean, from what he said, is not too far off. I do think, obviously, if the quarterback doesn't go down, it is a different game. I feel like, they obviously weren't able to utilize the team that they were, the majority of the second half. And so, I believe it would have been a lot more competitive game.
Well, I mean, it's not that Brock Purdy didn't just trip over his shoelace, right? It was a
major injury that he still – bouncing back from.
My point is that Hassan Reddick was the one who kind of was in his lap, right? I mean, it was affected. The moment was brought about by an actual defensive play that was repeated multiple times throughout the day.
Yeah, no question.
Mm-hmm.
No, it was
okay.
it was a weird predicament to be in. But no, I obviously know they were frustrated to have it go down to that.
Okay. Lane Johnson here on the Rich Eisen Show. Tell me what you're doing with Kuth, what it is, and the importance of it, Lane.
Yeah, Kuth is a free platform for kids, and the whole mission is to provide accessible and a space for the youth to achieve better mental health. Ironically enough, it started out of Kansas City, and we're about to spread to California. But really, it's a place for development and people to become obviously better versions of themselves. And I feel like a lot of people can benefit from this. I feel like just players in general, not only NFL but NBA, I feel like they've become more outspoken with this. Joe Burrow recently, Solomon Thomas, and I feel like they're creating a lot of good things for the young people.
So,
in this day and age.
Well, how are you dealing with your mental health, Lane? You've definitely been open about it. You talked about how once upon a time you were, what's the phrase for it? Living in hell or with hell. So what are you? What can you tell folks about your journey on that front?
I just think, obviously maybe as hard as I may work in my profession, I think developing the person, outside of this game is ideal. I feel like a lot of players maybe in general, maybe play a whole career in the NFL and don't really kind of adapt to what life after football might look. And sometimes it's a tough transition. So putting everything into perspective, I think with, I work with a sports psychologist, I'll talk to therapists and as reluctant as I was to try it in the beginning, I found out, I was able to maybe peel back layers of myself and become a better, father, become a better friend, become a better teammate. And at the end of the day, I think it helps out, everybody kind of involved.
Do you think the stigma of talking about it is better or worse in the NFL these days, Lane?
I think it was kind of in the negative light for a long time. And I think now just the more vocal that players maybe in other sports professions, I feel like Michael Phelps was kind of a pioneer, being one of the more decorated people, ever in sport, and him talking about his struggles. I feel like that kind of opened the gateway for lots of other athletes.
So Lane Johnson, the first professional athlete ambassador for Kooth. You can go visit us.kooth.com. Again, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. It is a perfect time for you to maybe visit that and talk about it. The platform is free for students. How's the Mastermind Summit looking in July for the offensive line? By the way, I love the name Masterminds. It's a great one. I like it.
It started, with 26 people. I feel like last year it's around 250 people.
Wow.
Obviously professionals, but a lot of the top college prospects are showing up. This year we have guests. Will Shields is coming. Steve Hutchinson, Andrew Whitworth, Anthony Munoz. So really getting some Hall of Fame type players,
Jeez.
Hall of Famers to come discuss, their time in the league, things that they learned, how they train, stuff that they might have dealt with, challenges. And really, I just feel like for everybody involved is really cool for them to maybe hear this a month out from the season and kind of put them in a good spot to start the season and maybe develop their game and make them a better player.
What about centers? Don't you think Kelsey would point out to you that the true mastermind is the center? Lane, wouldn't you say something?
Yeah,
like that?
really, it comes down to him, the offensive coordinator, and the quarterback. When you think a lot of it. So I'm sure we'll add a center in there. I like to have Mangold come in there.
There you go.
Obviously the centers are one of the more intelligent people on the field. So we're going to have Mike Pereira there for officiating, and discuss some of the new stuff that we're presented with every year and try to make the game a little bit safer.
So is there part of the symposium where Pereira stands there and you teach the tackles how to raise their hands up in the air in a way that doesn't make it look like they really did get caught for holding? Do you have those moments?
Yeah, that's one thing. It's like whenever we do hold, we do like to throw our hands up.
Yeah,
and
like I didn't do it.
Cause a lot of unwanted attention to ourselves.
Correct.
So, that'll be discussed. The headbutting. I believe last year we started with the helmet coverings. I think that's going to kind of be a thing that we're going to have all year. Long, as goofy as it looks, but there's going to be a lot of things discussed.
Gotta make sure. Don't throw your hands up so quickly because it makes it look like you were guilty. It really does, and maybe Pereira can help with that.
Part of it acting, you got to be a good actor.
Before I let you go, Lane, give me your favorite Jason Kelce story. What is it? Give it to me. It's got to be one. You've been around him forever. What do you got?
Yeah, probably when I hit his helmet under the garbage cans that we do drills on, and we had to go to a team drill, and he was trying to find his helmet for a long time, and he ran up to me and tried to punt me essentially, and he hit his foot on my kneecap and had to leave practice to get an MRI.
What do you mean he punted you? What do you mean? He kicked?
He walked towards me. I didn't know if he was going to throw a fist, but I was laughing. He was obviously mad, and he tried. Looked like he had a football in his right hand and essentially tried to punt me. In a not so good place, and my last lifted my knee up, and that's what he hit. So.
Okay, got it. So I guess in a way, I'm glad he hit your knee, but he was fine, right? He didn't miss any games due to this, did he?
No, he didn't miss any games, but he wasn't there the rest of that practice. So that's a pretty funny story.
And he never found the helmet, I'd imagine. Also,
he had found it eventually, but there was a lot of trash cans that were going around the practice facility.
I love it.
Around.
Thank you, Lane. Really appreciate it. Eagles fans are disappointed with the way last year finished, but the expectation level is sky high. What message do you have for them?
Stay with us. I think a lot of learning is going to come from last year, and to make us a better football team this year. So, we're reloading and be ready to rock and roll soon.
Lane, let me just tell you, thank you again for coming on here, as you have repeatedly, and maybe reach out. Let's connect before your Mastermind Summit in July.
All righty. Appreciate you.
Thanks again, Lane. You got it. That's Lane Johnson, Philadelphia Eagles tackle, courtesy of Kooth. Visit us.com. us.kooth, Kooth, like tooth, but with a K.com. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.